Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake.
Chris.
And Ames.
And we're here for episode 327.
Woohoo!
Fuck yeah.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it's not butter. And this week we will be, surprising no one, discussing 2 more episodes of Star Trek The Enterprise. Those episodes are going to be Detained and Vox Sola. In Detained, I bet you can't guess what happened.
Archer dies.
Oh, if only. Archer and Mayweather have been...
Yeah, I know.
Mayweather getting to do a thing.
Don't get fucking excited, because he has about 3 lines.
More than he's had in a while.
Yeah, but damn, they literally put... Listen, don't get me ahead of myself.
I was just shocked for you to say Mayweather as if he were a person on the show.
I know. So Mayweather and Archer have flown into some space that is controlled by an alien race that we have not yet met, and because of their transgression, they are detained.
Whoa.
He got a drink.
They said the name of the title. So these aliens are the Tandarans, and we learn that they are basically the only natural predator of the Suliban.
I can't tell if Chris is laughing because he knows something from an upcoming episode, or if he just found you very funny.
That was a great description.
Chris loves my jokes, and I appreciate that. So, we've been detained, and Archer is like, hey, man, WTF? And he's like, well, you were in our... and it's Colonel Grat that we're dealing with. What a name, Colonel Grat. And he apparently was in Quantum Leap, ?
Yeah, that was fucking Dean Stockwell. He played Al, the holographic friend of Sam.
Less helpful here.
Bakula.
Also, Dr. Yui in the 80s Dune.
Right.
Oh my god, you're right. Nice.
Okay, I knew he looked familiar, and I could not place it.
He's been in a ton of shit.
Oh yeah, he's been around forever.
I was perusing his discography.
He has a pretty good
his filmography.
Good arc in Battlestar. If you ever.
I saw that he was in Battlestar. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I haven't seen the. You know what I'm saying? I noted that whilst perusing the IMDb. But anyway, Colonel Grat's like, "Oh yeah, you were in our space. We're gonna have to take you to court. Sorry about that, but don't worry. We want to make you comfortable. Until that happens. Just make sure to lay low and stay safe. Watch out for the damn Suliban all over the place."
Archer hates Suliban. He met
Everybody
one
hates
once.
the Suliban.
There was the one that kissed him on the mouth a lot, though. He liked that one.
He's met them like twice now.
He knows enough to hate them.
Well, it's a good thing, too, because that's the law on Tendara or whatever, is hate Suliban, whether they be members of the, what the hell?
Cabal.
The Cabal. Did we know it was called the Cabal before today? Or was that new?
Yeah, I came up before.
Did it?
Oh,
Okay.
did it?
I know. I asked Jake during the episode too, like Cabal, and he's like, "There's the Suliban." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Yeah, I think Saren, is that her name?
Sounds
Soren?
right.
Whatever. I think
Sarek?
The woman he met
Macked.
in the pilot told him about the Cabal.
Okay. There was way too much going on in the pilot. I took in none of it.
Well, plus I feel like they said the Cabal like 85 times in this episode, which made me kind of assume that we've never talked about it before.
Quick, establish it now!
Yeah, the Cabal, the Cabal. You've heard about the Cabal. They're the Cabalers.
So they're doing some caballing.
Oh, man, I'm fucking hitting it today. I got Chris laughing. I got Ames laughing. I'm coming for you, Jake.
Jake is slightly sick, so enjoy.
Well, Jake is usually pretty sick.
Yeah.
By sick, you mean awesome.
Yeah, you got that right.
He wheezed. Anyway, so Archer, of course, will not lay low and will not stay away from the Suliban and stay out of trouble because he's Captain Archer. So he goes out and he's out late at night apparently, and he runs into a Suliban and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck, Suliban? What are you doing here? You guys are
bitch."
Sula, bitch! Like, you guys are, like, all about, genetic modification, and, like, you're bad. And the guy's like, what? And then someone shows up and is like, hey, you're out past curfew, Sula, bitch! And Archer laughs and high-fives that guy.
He's like, I wish you were the ones that I genocided. Yeah.
Woo! So this Suliban, Danik, we find out, is sent to solitary for being out past curfew. They don't put his daughter in solitary, though, and that's weird, because she's out past curfew also. Just saying, fuck them kids. So Archer's like, well, but he didn't do anything wrong. And they're like, yeah, whatever, Archer, go back to your room. He does, but now he and Danik are like, he kind of owes him. So he's like, hey, man, the next day, he's like, I'm really sorry about solitary, man. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. I was just letting my biases about how your people are all weird genetic splicers get in the way. And Danik's like, no, man, we're not all splicers. Actually, we're all being held in these internment camps. And maybe this is some kind of metaphor for something.
But what could it be?
I don't know. I wasn't able to dig deep enough. But it certainly seems like they're sending some kind of message.
It's okay that you didn't come up with it on your own, because they explicitly tell you in the episode what the metaphor is about.
I must have
missed that. I can't wait to be reminded of that.
Hey, T'Pol, have you heard about all the Japanese internment camps? And she's like, why would I have heard of any of this?
Yeah, why would she?
But also, I don't know, you got a show with a Japanese character and you have the white man explain it.
Well, to be fair, Hoshi is kind of useless.
She does something next episode. We'll see. This one first.
So, yeah, he's like, yeah, like, in the company line with the Tendarans seems to be like, no, like, we're protecting them from themselves, this is for their own good, isn't it? And, whatnot. Archer is like, well, I'd like to get back in touch with my ship, and Colonel Grat is like, no can do, buddy, but I'll call them and let them know that you're here, and I'll explain everything. And so Grat calls, and they're like, well, we'd love to talk to the captain if he's there. And he's like, nope, sorry, buddy. So immediately Trip and Reed are like, we gotta break them out! Because that's always the way it is. I mean, they're right, they do have to. But that's their first, they jump to it immediately.
For all they know, Archer actually did something terrible. Because that's what I assumed.
Not as bad as what the Tendarans are doing. And all the while, so they're concocting a plan to break them out, which involves using the transporter to send a communicator over to Archer, which is groovy. But he and Danik are becoming like good friends, and he's like, wow, maybe everything that all my preconceived notions about that one dick Suliban, maybe that was all wrong. Maybe my prejudices are incorrect. Nah.
I'm gonna put my prejudices for them onto the Tendarans now.
Yeah, they suck a lot, don't they? Archer's like, or Mayweather, somebody, no, probably not Mayweather, he only said like 3 things. Archer's like, why don't you guys ever try to escape? And they're like, no, it'll be bad. And he was like, no, we're totally gonna do it. And they do. They break out with the help. Honestly, it's getting murky at this point for me. I don't really remember. I know
it got murky for the writers.
It was a little sloppy at the end. They got real sloppy about it.
Reed blew some guys up.
That was Reed's favorite thing. Blowing shit up.
Reed loves explosions this week,
of course,
as
always.
always.
They had to make sure to show the guys kind of moving around to show that they weren't actually dead.
No, don't worry, they're not dead.
No one died, ever in Star Trek.
I thought, I know, not jumping ahead, but I thought for sure the next episode somebody was gonna die.
Forget it.
Nope.
This is Star Trek. Nobody dies in Star Trek.
Everybody escapes the end? Like, I literally
We don't know. That's the thing. Archer, Reed, Mayweather escape. We never see what happens to anyone else, even a little bit.
Was there a deleted scene?
No.
It seems like there should have been.
That was written like that?
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
There's so many tied up loose ends at the end of this episode.
Like,
that
they were clearly setting up that Kevon was going to go back and maybe sacrifice himself to save the father.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that scene didn't fucking happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
they had
the
this whole
fuck
thing
was
of
that?
Kevon being like, yeah,
Go on, save yourselves.
I'll take care of
No,
it.
that was the father, but then...
Yeah,
Oh, well, either way. Did he die?
No one
We don't know.
knows.
We don't know.
Oh, we don't know.
We don't know.
That's what we're saying.
Last we
That's-
saw him, he was pinned down in the commissary.
100%. They all joined the cabal.
I hope
Yeah.
so at this point.
Well,
'cause
no
fuck
shit,
it.
because I mean that's like, and I mean like, you know, again, not to like tie it into current events, but like that's the only outcome anyone is predicting for what's going on right now in Points East is that more people are going to join up with terrorist organizations because of what's happening in their homes.
This is definitely an episode they wouldn't have made if they hadn't written it earlier in the year.
Oh, like before 9/11.
9/11.
4911.
Yeah.
I don't know. This might have been after because, you know, this aired April of 2002.
That's true. They could have easily retooled it if they had written it earlier.
That
But-
I would be surprised by that level of
Competence.
common decency
Mm.
in an era of extreme hate.
I mean, this is what I would expect from Star Trek, though. Like, I
Well,
would like that.
This is what I would expect from good Star Trek.
Yeah,
And-
that's true.
And the thing is, I guess maybe I'm saying this because in light of, I feel like basically eventually Enterprise gets to post 9/11 episodes
Mhm.
and they largely fail.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think giving this episode the benefit of the doubt, you know, because if you go back to late 2001, 2002, people were there was a lot of Islamophobia.
So
There
much.
was a lot of like, you know, oh, we gotta monitor the Muslims. We gotta keep an eye on them. Get Gitmo, Abu Ghraib, all this shit. So, I mean, Abu Ghraib was later, but you know, it doesn't make, you know, they couch it and they lampshade it by drawing the connection to the Japanese internment, which also horrible. But I feel like if you read a little between the lines, you could kind of see it being more about current events.
Yeah,
or contemporary
don't do
events.
the racial
Oh,
profiling.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think so, but I've just so much of this show has been disappointing so far.
I mean, it's. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they were trying to make a
Statement piece.
a statement against racial hate and hysteria because of, you know, like it's what they're talking about in this episode with the Suliban is much closer to like the Cabal is much closer to like an Al-Qaeda like organization not representing all Muslims than
Yeah.
it would be like the Japanese
Mhm.
Americans and things like that. So I don't know. I think it is. I think it covers both. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they wrote an episode about current events and didn't fuck it up in terms of the current event. They fucked up other things. In this
Yeah,
episode
it
for
wasn't.
sure,
It
but-
wasn't a good
Yeah,
episode.
well, apparently they didn't
Yeah.
write the end of the fucking thing.
Yeah, the
so
social
that's a start.
messaging was, I'm going to say, was on point.
Yeah,
though.
okay, I would agree with that, and I think they were more heavy-handed than they needed to be in the social messaging,
Much.
and that kind of hurt the story as a story because I try to liken this episode to Duet, which is an unfair comparison because Duet is amazing.
Yeah,
and
that's
how,
one of the best
Jesus.
episodes of Star Trek, full
yeah,
stop.
and how there's just so much nuance. Like, you look at someone who you are told to hate, who all your life you have hated, and then you learn, oh, I shouldn't racial profile you because you're not all the same. But there are still ones of you that do suck, and everything is a weird gray area, and everyone lands somewhere in this gray area versus should I like or hate you. And this episode seemed to decide we're going to shift all the Suliban into the good side because suddenly Archer is not sticking up for, but at least not like selling out Silic when he totally could just sell out Silic, who he
Well,
hates.
see, here's the thing, though. I don't know what the fuck Al expected him to know.
Also true.
Right.
Like
Like, it's
Archer
like,
could have
okay,
just said everything he knew. It's not much.
Yeah, it's like, but he probably wouldn't have believed him, you know? It's like,
Yeah, I mean, well, this is it feels like another idiot ball, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about this last week because it's like Archer doesn't want to tell Gratz what he knows, kind of on principle, just because he doesn't like.
Yeah,
Grat.
I don't like you.
Yeah.
But like,
You're not Hal.
Where's the harm in sharing intelligence on
But that's what I mean, but
the Cabal?
What does he have? Like, this guy seems to think just because he's met Silic a couple times, he must have this extensive, like, you read their database. They are a lone ship from a very new to the galaxy, like, planet. You know they don't really have an intelligence apparatus to speak of. Spoiler alert, they never fucking will.
Oh boy.
Like, that's like just, yeah, I was waiting for somebody to do it. Just because he's met and punched the guy twice doesn't mean he knows where one helix is.
Which has been destroyed.
Yeah, so it's like, what the hell is he supposed to tell you? That's like assuming just because you've met an enemy in the field, you've magically picked up all this information.
Well, I want to know, what is the fucking Tandaran intelligence apparatus? Because holy fucking shit. So they knew everything that happened.
Yeah, they know Broken Bow.
Yeah.
Well, they know about Broken Bow. They know about what happened on the planet where, where
Archer got kissed.
Where Archer got kissed and got shot.
The old shooting
Which
kiss.
I can understand. Like, okay, they have their operatives kind of tailing known Cabal associates, so it makes sense that they would have seen that and been like, oh, who's that fucking guy? Let's look him up. But then he knew about details of things that happened on Enterprise months later.
Such as?
Yeah.
Well, like, he knew that Silic was on Enterprise later. When he snuck aboard with the Pilgrims.
Right.
He knew that.
Why would he know that?
How the fuck is Colonel Grat getting this information? Did they plant a bug on Enterprise somehow?
These
are they
guys
monitoring communications?
These guys are already planning to infiltrate Starfleet.
These people seem to have their fucking shit together in the intelligence department, for sure.
Yet, don't seem to understand that Archer wouldn't know anything, really.
Right.
That's where it kind of falls apart. Like,
well,
maybe
they would know everything Archer knows. And
right,
more.
yeah, like, there can't be anything he knows that you don't. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
What do they know that we talked... Oh, God, what was his fucking name? The guy who wasn't actually a crewman who brought Archer his eggs?
Daniels.
Do they know about Daniels, do we think? Does that have anything to do with anything anymore?
I mean, he knows about the temporal Cold War. He brings up temporal Cold War, so he knows that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that they had just done it a little differently with that. Like, if the reason Grat had been suspicious of Archer was just a little more like, oh, we saw you talking to one of them.
Yeah.
What are you a Suliban sympathizer? Put him in the torture room. Or, waterboard the man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, man. Do you think then it wasn't an accident that they found Archer and imprisoned him?
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a very interesting question. They obviously know about, I hadn't thought of that, but...
Knew they could lure him in with some weird energy readings.
Yeah, the energy readings that clearly must say no trespassing, but they just don't know your fucking language. Yeah. Hoshi.
This episode would work a lot better if it was a part of a continuing Tandaran arc, where like...
Will we ever see them again?
Like, I think it would be really great if we saw, the Suliban escapees in the future.
Oh, I doubt we will.
But it would be cool, right? Like, it could be like, not the same thing, but like in Descent, where we saw Hugh and his crew. Of course, they'd been taken over by a maniac, but...
Love lore. Shut your mouth.
but where we kind of had follow-up there to see what grew from that seed they planted.
Their
space seed.
So it'd be nice. Like, maybe in the future we'll learn more about the Suliban, resistance to the Cabal.
Well, we'll see. I know there is more from them.
Maybe Grat goes on a crusade to capture Archer. Like, these are all things that could be done. I don't know that they will be.
I think you do know, because you've seen this show, Jake.
It would be it would sure be more interesting.
Aw, sad face.
And like, also, honestly, Grat is a more interesting adversary for Archer than Selic.
True.
Right?
Well, Silic we just literally know nothing about because the show wants to keep him enigmatic or some shit.
We know nothing about, and he has whatever superpower he happens to need to evade
Like a
Archer
Vulcan.
at any given time. Yeah.
How many eyelids does this guy have?
He has the ability to skydive in space.
He's got wings.
It's funny, though. This is 3 weeks in a row of stunt casting, but this time they've gone outside of Star Trek for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I read that Bakula had basically been asking if Dean Stockwell could guest, and Berman and Bakula thought it would be they just thought it would be really fun. And me, I'm reading this thing in Memory Alpha thinking, fun or like fucking publicity stunt?
See, now that I'm thinking about it, it would have been even more tongue-in-cheek wink-wink if he had played the character that Rene Auberjonois played last week, because in Quantum Leap,
That would have
Al
been...
played a hologram.
Oh, there you
yeah.
go.
Or Stockwell played a hologram.
And then Renee could have played this guy, because we know he plays a good fascist.
Yeah, right up his alley. In fact, it could have just been Odo and out of nowhere for no reason.
Actually, what's
That's where he
funny is...
went.
We would have been fine with that.
The father Suliban, I felt like, actually, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but aside from just being kind of growly, because all the Suliban seem to be in this episode, he had a pattern to his speech that reminded me of Rene Auberjonois' speech patterns as Odo.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, that's strange.
I know we've
I
seen
don't
this
know
guy
how I felt
before,
about
too.
the gruff voices of the Suliban.
Yeah, because I mean...
it seemed a little overdone.
Yeah, like, it's not like they're trying to say it's a trait they all have, because Silic has that, well, silky voice.
Maybe
It's
that's
very
a genetic
ingratiating.
enhancement.
It was interesting, though, because like,
What
I
else has he
spotted...
been enhancing?
I spotted Kevon right away. Like, I looked him up, I was like, that's
I mean,
gotta be
he's
Kevon.
got a
I know that.
distinctive look.
Yeah, you know, even under 20 pounds of makeup, I was like, I know that. But interestingly, the father had also previously been a Vorta.
I know.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
really?
9.
Oh, who was
Yeah.
that? Who was he?
He
was-
was Borath.
My wife.
I know, I also thought she said Borat
You're
at
gonna have
first.
to
I was
remind me at which point. Which
He
episode Borath
was. Oh gosh, was he the one that was? I might have to look this up, but my brain wants to tell me he was the one that was in that like manned the fighting ring that Worf ended up in.
Nope, he actually, I looked it up earlier.
Ah, dang. Okay.
He was the one that was running the, like, simulation a bunch of them were trapped in that one time.
Oh, one of the early Vortas.
Yeah, so he was in it for, like, maybe
Is
5
that
minutes.
in The Search Part 2?
Couldn't
Must
tell you.
be.
Don't remember the title, but yeah, that was him. So we still, 3 weeks in a row of Star Trek Returns, but not quite as big a deal as Odo and Neelix in previous weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was fun. I think that they gave I liked the Grat character.
Mhm.
I wish there'd been more. I wish his motivations had been clearer, and I wish he wasn't just omniscient, evidently.
Yeah, like that is a hell of an intelligence arm you people have.
Yeah, see, I mostly
really
wish.
wish-
Oh, go ahead. You go.
Sorry,
You
go
go.
ahead.
No,
I was
I'll
just
shut
saying,
up.
I just really wish that they had wrapped up any of the threads that they started with the Kevon thing,
That would have been good.
the wife of the father, because they made a whole big deal about how she was applying to be transferred and kept getting denied.
I don't know. I think that's
Well,
just part of
Are they
part
going
of
to
the
go liberate
backstory.
her? Just going to go liberate her camp now? Is like I feel like there's a missing epilogue.
I mean, I don't know if we could get everything. Like, I think her fate being left up in the air would be fine, but I want to know, did the father live? Did Kevon live? What happened there? Because again, it felt like they were building up to that, and then we don't get it. Like, it's one thing to leave something ambiguous if you maybe weren't necessarily building to it, but they built to it
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, they made this huge deal that Sajin was gonna like, oh, I don't want to hang out with you people because you're obviously gonna get all killed. Oh wait, I guess I'll join you anyway. And then he just vanishes and does something that we don't know what.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah.
I'm gonna prove to have been worth my medal after all.
We could have, maybe spent the time with that scene instead of Archer spending 20 minutes explaining Manzanar. Which, like, respect your audience. Like, I was sitting there, it's an internment camp, okay. And then he spells it out. I'm like, you fucking twat. These writers, man.
Well, they think the audience is stupid.
They're probably right.
Which
I
some
know-
of them are, but they even if you don't know like right away, oh, this is like the Japanese internment camps, you can still watch the show and see, oh, this is a bad thing for people.
Yeah.
This is the wrong way to handle whatever crisis you're in the middle of. You've done it wrong.
Yeah.
I always wonder if the Manzanar stuff was a later addition to the script when somebody was like, oh man, what if the audience thinks we're criticizing the government about post 9/11 shit?
That is
make it very clear that we're actually talking about Japanese internment, which everyone agrees was wrong.
That is actually why an opening
guys.
That's why an opening text crawl was added to the MASH movie, making it explicit that it was Korea.
Yeah, this is this one that everyone knows about.
Yeah, no, it's not Vietnam, even though there's a lot of hints that it's Vietnam.
I'm going to spend a while shitting on Archer, as I am wont to do.
That's all right. He likes it.
He does. He probably does.
If he didn't, he wouldn't fucking act like that.
And it's mostly just that I don't ever understand his motivation this episode, because he seems to just really love butting in where he has no place being.
I mean,
he does.
He's very consistently written in that way.
Except when he decides to genocide people. But in these ones, he's going to help because they're different. I don't know. But it just felt like you have no plan. You don't know these people. The very last line actually sticks it just perfectly, where it's like, oh, I think they survived. Oh, but do you think they're all right? Oh, I don't know if they'll be all right. No, you don't. You just fucking wrecked their society. You just threw these people out into space and they have nowhere to go.
You just made a huge enemy. You made a very powerful enemy out of the
Tandarans.
The Tandarans.
I mean,
people who know every fucking thing that happens on your ship somehow now hate you.
You rue this day, Archer.
And think you're a terrorist.
I'm all for pooping on Archer, but I still think breaking folks out just because you don't know exactly what's going to happen to them, it's better than that. You know, Mayweather at one point, one of his 3 lines was like, so what, you want to spend the rest of your life in jail? Like, you know.
No, I get that it's doing the right thing, but I feel like so much of it was, okay, here's what it is. If he hadn't seen Nara, the daughter, he would not have done this. If he hadn't seen there was a little girl involved, it would just been, oh yeah, Danik, fuck that guy, whatever. He has nothing to do with me. But nope, there was a little girl who he had to feel like he had to save.
Well, I think to an extent that's sort of part of his arc is like, he noticed this kid, and because of that, it kind of kicked him in the ass to make him realize, oh, I'm being a shit. I'm pulling a Star Trek and assuming they're a monoculture, and it turns out they're not. And I feel like he's maybe, and this I feel like fits in his personality as we know it, it's like he's maybe now overcorrecting. Like he realized, oh, I've been fucking up. I need to correct this. But because he's Archer, he overdoes it. The one thing I really do blame him for, though. Hey, we have contraband. Where should we hide it? Mayweather's pocket.
Yeah.
At first I thought, because I didn't remember if this was the case, I was like, did they want it to be found? Was this part of the plan? Because that was really stupid. And it looks like, no, they just thought the best... Like, I get it. There's 78 pockets on those jumpsuits, but these guys are persistent. They will check all of them. And your bum.
Oof.
Yeah, you put that thing in, a common area, so it could have been anyone's fault.
I'm sure someone has a hollow somewhere they could have let you stick it in.
Hot?
Oh, my.
Sorry, I meant in a wall or something. That didn't, yeah. I was thinking a Hogan's Heroes under the teapot kind of thing.
Okay, so next question I have. They send Reed down in Suliban costume while Tucker goes and shoots up a watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
How did everyone on the Enterprise know what to make the plan?
I think they just came up with the plan.
They said, we're going to send Reed in there for fun. We're going to go shoot up the place of these people with whom we've just made contact for the very first time and see what happens. This is a very Cisco plan.
Reed's job was just to blow up the wall. That was the only thing he had to do. Blow a hole in the wall so people could run out of it.
I see why they picked Reed for that.
Yeah. Although, again, idiot ball moment. Those guards... There's, what did they say, 85, 89 Suliban?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they're like, who's this guy? It's probably fine.
They all look the same.
There is no way, even then though, you think they would just be they right away would have known, who the fuck are you? And then
You
they
would fucking
walked
hope so.
towards the blinking lights on the bombs.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I was going to say.
The Sula bombs.
We never see them.
we've seen Klingons be like, the ship is counting down for some reason.
But yeah, like...
Get out! Get out of there!
I'm just saying, I think these might be our first fatalities, because there's no way they survived that.
No, they showed two of those dudes.
Oh, they did? Fuck's
At
sake.
least one of them was like writhing around on the ground afterward.
If it makes you feel better, Jake, people eventually do die, because I remember seeing...
I know.
By the 24th century, they're all dead.
Yeah, we did see the guy in the other Prison Break episode get shot.
That's true.
No, the informant, yeah.
But yeah, because I remember seeing a graphic once years ago that proportionally, because his crew is so small, proportionally Archer actually has like the largest number of crew deaths.
When is this going to happen? Because so far it's 0.
Sometime in the next 3 1/10 seasons.
I mean, space is dangerous.
Yep.
Let's get dangerous.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. How fucking racist is Phlox?
Very, but go on.
Because it's still somehow going to be Phlox's fault. It's not really Phlox's fault, but...
I don't know, it might be. Give it a chance.
They're like, okay, we need to send an infiltrator down. All Suliban look the same, right? We'll just do him up to look like a Suliban. Send him in.
Well, being fair, even though I still think the guards should have noticed, there's probably way fewer guards, and the guards all definitely know each other because they've got protocols and shit. You do maybe start to let your eyes glaze over on your prisoners. Like, it is the safer bet of the two, admittedly.
I would have just sent him down. I would have made him up to look like a rich oil man touring the facility. I say, I'm here to investigate for some well drilling.
Now I'm
prime drilling land.
Now I'm just
oil field as far as the eye can see.
Picturing Reed as Doug Dimmadome.
No, see, that's what
that reference, but
good. Don't explain. I was going to ask.
I assumed you were just going to keep going, but it's a Fairly Odd Parents thing.
Fine. What was this weird affect that T'Pol was pulling when she was like, yes, come and eat in our guest quarters and have dinner with us. It's like, what are you doing?
At that point, because I wasn't paying attention, I kind of assumed that what had happened was that, like, Trip had been the one that Phlox was changing the look of, and, like... somehow made him look like T'Pol so he could be flirty. While T'Pol, like, infiltrates. Like, I honestly was so confused. I'm like, what is happening right now?
I mean, she was doing a
subterfuge. There's no way this is T'Pol. She doesn't know how to do Come on.
Vulcans
That's why
don't
she was so
lie.
bad at it.
Ugh. I just don't know why she decided, oh, if I have to pretend to be friendly, I have to put on, like, this Valley Girl voice.
I have to pretend that I want to fuck him. I mean, that's really what it is.
I kind of like the idea that maybe she's like, all right, what does Archer sound like all the time? And this is her attempt to be Archer, which is why she sounds so silly.
She's like, how do I make myself sound that nasally?
You really think they'd be able to deny a data stream a little more easily? Like, did he click
the Tendarans, you mean?
Yeah, like, did they just click download without looking at the file size first? What the hell?
I don't know. I didn't follow what was happening.
Denial of service attack.
Yeah,
Napster
exactly.
giveth, Napster taketh away.
Have they done that before? I feel like now that I've said that out loud, I feel like there was another episode once where they, like, dumped a database on someone. Not necessarily in Enterprise, but just in some previous Star Trek.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. This was fine.
They tried
aside from some
something.
failings.
Yeah, the execution wasn't great. Mayweather was fine.
And underused as usual.
And yet, sadly, again, probably the most he's had to do in, like, 10 episodes.
Oh my god, yeah, no doubt. But I was like, oh my god, Mayweather's in this episode? And I'm like, oh, no, he's not. Okay.
I know, I love the first scene when he wakes up and has to do creeping around, but still has no lines.
Listen, Mayweather, we want you there. We want you to give us something, but we really don't want to hear you talk. So...
Well, that's because we hear him talk in the next episode, and boy, he's not great in that either. Tell us about it,
He
Caitlin.
does? Oh, yeah, he does.
Well, the next episode is Vox Sola.
You keep wincing when she says that, Chris.
Because the fucking jizz alien. It's
Okay.
nasty. I just hated looking at it.
Oh, it's fine.
So in Vox Sola, some kind of Melvar fucking gas cloud creature gets onto the Enterprise, throws himself in the engine room, and starts sucking the life out of people. And it looks like semen. It's definitely a little weird and cummy for sure. And first, he gets an engineer who just wants to go see a movie with his favorite girl. Then he gets his favorite girl. Then he gets Captain John, I want to be a football hero archer.
Water polo.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. And then Trip, and I don't know who else. Does he get Reed as well?
No.
I think there was another security
Mayweather?
guy, but I couldn't tell.
Right.
Yeah,
there was definitely a, quote, red shirt.
There was another red shirt. He had, no lines. He passed out immediately.
Thought for sure he would die. I thought, well, I don't know who that guy is, and I don't even know.
I think the
I
other
don't even
red
know
shirt,
how he... Go ahead.
I think the other red shirt is one of the background extras that we see in a lot of episodes. I think he might just be a body double or a stand-in.
Okay.
Well, I kind of figured since I didn't know his stance on the movie that he was doomed,
Yes.
What does this guy think about
invested-
explosions?
I was invested in my dude getting out so we could go see the movie, Yeah, so this thing is sucking everybody dry. Speaking of semen. And the Intrepid crew is trying to figure out how to deal with it. They're like, well, what if we just shoot the fucking thing with phasers? Well, that's no good because it turns out that it's tied itself in neurologically and auto whatever system.
Autonomic, maybe?
Autonomic, yeah, sure. Autonomic system is all tied in. They're psychically linked now. Fucking they're all linked together and reading each other's minds. Archer's like, hey, Trip, what am I thinking about now? And Trip's like, oh, Cap'n, no, not with a horse.
Oh, no.
No.
It's all just T'Pol's bum
Polo.
again,
He's
isn't
talking
it?
about polo on a horse.
Yeah, sure he is.
Polo only in water.
Water polo on a horse.
Hey,
Horses
Cap'n,
can
you
probably
pondering what
swim.
I'm pondering?
Cap'n.
Captain.
Cap'n.
So shooting it doesn't work because that hurts the other people that are all wrapped up in it, and they can't just, cut them out pretty much for the same reason. And also, we're like, wait, but this thing has all of the nooks and crannies of a sentient life form, and we're not just talking about, some kind of jizz cloud in here. This could be people. And somehow a piece of it gets cut off, which gave me, big Tally Po vibes.
Big what?
You never heard of the Tally Po? It's a really, really, really lame, scary stories you tell in the dark thing.
Oh, yeah,
The basic premise is a dude is alone in a cavern in the woods. This big lizardy thing is, clawing outside his door. He reaches out and grabs it and lops its tail off and eats it. And then...
That's what I would do.
Yeah, while you're hungry, And then Tally Po, the monster, comes back and is like, Tally Po, give me back my Tally Po. And ultimately it eats the guy who ate its tail. Anyway, good story. Glad we could talk about it.
Well done.
Yeah, so
It's a fucking jizz cock is what it is.
It's a big old jizz cock.
God.
So Phlox is experimenting on it.
As
He's
he
like, wow,
does.
look at all the jizz in this jizz cock. And, he's like, yeah, this could be people. We can't just, go in there and hack it to pieces. We got to figure something else out. Meanwhile, Hoshi is like, it seems to be, reacting to the phaser beam. Maybe we could talk to it by, I don't know, emitting pulses or some bullshit.
It's like math and a balloon and something bad happens.
Something bad happens. So she and T'Pol are sitting in study hall together, and T'Pol keeps kind of giving her constructive criticisms and feedback. And Hoshi's like, "You're so mean." And T'Pol's like, "That's because I think you're great." And then they fucking make out and mash their tits together. I think I'm pretty sure that's what happened. There were moments where they were just making this. They were just making this eye contact. I was watching it with someone and I said, dude, are they gonna fuck right now? Because they look like they looking at each other like they're gonna fuck. It's because I hold you in such high regard. Oh, I just want to impress you. Anyway.
I'm sure there's a lot of...
Don't they make out at some point? Isn't that this show? Doesn't somebody make out with T'Pol at some point?
I mean, probably a lot of the men.
Well, I'm just saying, isn't there some gay kissing in this series?
In
don't
this
remember.
I don't think
series? No, I think. Are you thinking Dax?
Was there gay kissing with Dax?
Yes.
Yeah, when
Dax
her
kissed
old
her ex-wife.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, anyway, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Anyway. So ultimately, but Reed, of course, is like, let's just fucking blow it up. And they're like, no, Reed.
Boy, governor!
But ultimately, Reed and Hoshi get to kind of work together to solve it because Reed makes a force field to hold the thing back, and Hoshi whips up a computer synthesizer, who knows what the fuck, to try to talk to it, and it works, and they're like, hey, take us home, and they're like, okay, but let go of our friends, and the monster's like, really? And they're like, yeah, and they're like, okay, so everybody's fine, they bring the monster home, the end. There's also like a B plot where we apparently pissed off the Cretaceans, and ass, yeah.
The Crete
Maybe that's what
assholes.
they don't like mouth eating. They only like ass eating. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, but you see that
to
it's
quote
not quite
Megan
a B
the-
plot.
Oh
No.
no.
It's because it's all tied. So really, the way you got to look at this episode is it is a Hoshi gets her groove back episode, and then you realize she never lost her groove
Because she never had it.
because at the very beginning of the episode we see the Cretaceans leaving in a huff, and we don't know why because we don't understand their language, and everyone assumes that Hoshi's just incompetent at translating it.
I sure did.
So she's translating it, and she's like, you eat like you fuck? And everyone looks at her like, you fucking idiot. They didn't say that. Get the fuck out of here, Hoshi.
I didn't catch that.
And then
Oh,
at
you
the
didn't
end,
catch
it turns
that?
out that's actually is what they said.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't paying a ton of attention because I figured it wouldn't actually matter later.
I mean, it
'Cause-
doesn't. It's just, it's full circle on the
But no, it was actually
Hoshi
a clever
was right
thing.
the whole time.
Yeah, no, that was
Hoshi knew what was going on.
the fuckers were clever for once, and I didn't notice. I feel like an idiot.
Well, nobody can fault you for that. I mean, nobody expects them to actually be clever. Or the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
I think that's everything, right?
Yeah,
That's the
and
episode?
Mayweather totally takes the wind out of Hoshi's sails by being like, I'll just do your job for you while you deal
Well-
with this other shit.
Because apparently, despite the fact they're in the middle of a huge crisis, they figured the bridge could be staffed by Mayweather and some random dude by the back wall.
Well, hey, at
Mayweather got to
least,
sit in the big boy chair again.
No, he
and-
was still in the navigator's
I
chair
know.
at that point. 'cause-
but at least Mayweather halted his mission to find out what T'Pol's favorite food was for this crisis.
So,
It's water.
so yeah, we've decided, like you said, Jake. It's kind of like we've just kind of gone back to Hoshi has self-doubt, even though we've dealt with this before, and
Yeah, she should have
We
stayed
just-
with Sluggo.
we decided to regress her so we could tell this story. It's like,
I mean, to
why?
be fair, it sounded like the universal translator was being shit too. Like,
yeah,
it was translating, and then she was reading off of that, and it's like, but wait, the universal translator has picked up other languages. Fine.
Well, maybe these guys just have a really complicated
Well, and that's
thing that who knows.
that's what she was saying. Like when she was going over it manually, and it's like, yeah, it's just sometimes this universal translator, because it's still kind of new, sucks. And if you give her fucking time, she'll work it out. It's just
So why weren't they given time before they met with these people? I bet you Archer was like, we have to be their best friends immediately. And they're like, Archer, wait, I don't know their language. Okay, well, I guess I know mouth and eat. Good, I have enough.
was it in this one or the previous one? It might have been the previous one where Archer was like, people seem to have mostly been happy to meet us. It's like, well, not in the episodes we've seen.
No.
Yeah,
9
really.
times-
You're just doing a little tell don't show on that one, huh?
Yeah.
Were the
So-
fucking Vulcans happy when they fucking had their temple blown
They
up
don't.
or
They don't
whatever?
have emotion. They don't display
Right.
emotions, so we'll never know.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
You're
so here was the dumbest part of this episode.
How can you choose just one?
Is it
The
just the
ethical-
design of the alien?
The ethical debate that amounted to nothing.
Which ethical debate is that?
The
Do we eat with
force
our
field.
mouths? Oh, the force field.
Because
How
there's
was
that
the force-
whole thing where Reed is like, I want to see how
in
much I
sick
can
bay, you
hurt.
mean, right?
Yeah, how much can I hurt this thing without killing it? And Phlox is like, dude, that's fucked up. And then not being able to do that does in no way hinder Reed figuring out how to make force fields work.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like,
yeah,
so the whole
boring.
thing was pointless. Completely
But
pointless.
we did learn something about Reed, which is he's a fucking horrible sociopath.
Well,
we
knew
knew
this.
Well,
I'm shocked Flox
apparently,
stood
like-
up for the creature.
I don't know.
Apparently
Fox
he's
likes
like
his
a-
creatures.
A polymath with
Yeah, right?
engineering skills. He invents force fields. What?
Well, it's not so much the inventive as that he makes the final link that apparently armies of engineers couldn't. Because he said, like, they've been working on it. There's all the information in the database. They just haven't made the, like, final breakthrough. And somehow this guy figures it out in about 25 minutes. Like, it is still beyond belief. But he didn't completely come up with it on his own. He just, again, he somehow, again, it doesn't make sense that he made it function.
What pissed me off about this is when Hoshi's like, hey, let me try to figure out how the monster's language works.
Yeah.
To Paul's like, that's a fucking waste of time, bitch. Do something more productive. And then when Reed's like, let me invent a new piece of technology. To Paul's like, well, you better get on it.
But also, like, what else are you going to have her doing right now?
She could be dealing with the Cretacean situation.
Yeah, I guess maybe that, yeah.
See, here's the
If they
thing
weren't
about
trying to find them.
the language that once I started thinking about this, I can't think about anything else, is so this alien thing grabs a bunch of people and is basically sucking the energy out of them or what have you.
Yeah.
But in absorbing them has linked their minds.
Yep.
So now they're effectively like kind of telepathic a little bit.
Yep.
So why didn't Hoshi just ask one of the conscious crew members what the thing wants?
Oh, wow.
Well, see, but then, if it had been that simple, you couldn't have had their whole thing with Hoshi realizing T'Pol values her, she just is bad at expressing it because she's a Vulcan. They had to avoid the obvious Occam's razor solution for the sake of the plot.
Well, then they shouldn't have had them become telepaths.
That is correct. There was
that
no
would
need
be
for
it.
it.
Added nothing.
Not at all.
I mean, it kind of showed the, okay, yes, this is one organism thing, but it already
Easier ways.
was.
Yeah, we already picked up on that. Thank you.
We didn't need it.
Nope.
Hey,
Hey.
not to change the subject wildly, but as much as Hoshi and T'Pol definitely bone after they have their little heart to heart, Trip and Archer were on a date, right? That water polo thing was a date, right? Because they were both kind of dressed down. They were sitting next to each other. They're having a couple brewskis. They were kind of flirting a little bit. Like, that was a date, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. Trip's like, so, Captain, I heard you
Captain.
like water sports.
Captain.
Me and the captain make it happen. Ha-cha-cha.
God, I hated all the water polo scenes because they were
so gross.
They were just explaining water polo because they picked the whitest man sport they could think of, but it's one that no one knows the rules. So they had to be constantly like, oh, and now this one's gonna get sunk for 2 minutes and see if he can hold his breath. Oh, now this one's happening over here. It's like, you guys are watching the game. Watch, don't narrate.
And like, when the research department was like, oh, we need some clips of people playing water polo. Oh, we can't use any like Olympic footage because it's going to be copyrighted. So you're going to have to just find some like public access
water polo.
Public access water polo.
And the one that they could find was from like 1976 and looked like dog shit.
Well, see,
the quality of that video was horrible.
Okay, but you can explain that away by, communications, long distance, even with subspace buoys, is still, it's data intensive, and the only way to send it efficiently was to just make it potato quality.
Wait, so are they supposed to be watching it live or something?
No, it's a recording.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second.
Why didn't they
can
shoot
call home
some new scenes?
Because then they would have had to like get a water polo team.
How much could they cost?
Polo.
I could afford a water polo team.
Water polo team would be like, wait, you're going to pay for us to play water polo? Holy shit.
It's probably, if anything, it's probably easier to get a team, but harder to get, like, the time in the pool and set up all the equipment. And
Plus, a lot of pools don't really want you to have horses in them.
Gonna run this
we
joke
talked
into the
about
ground.
that guy on the internet that
That
finds
guy.
obscure sports.
yes, you have.
We should see if that guy can find out this water polo
I mean,
match.
how many
That's
water
beyond
polo
even
matches
him.
are there?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this was the only water polo match held in 1974 that made it onto the TV because no one gives a fuck.
Like, there's got to be someone on the crew that really likes water polo, which is why they picked that of all things, right? Like, holy shit. It's
don't know,
possibly the only whiter sport than crew.
Yeah, and like how like why make Archer unapproachable? Like it just seems like you would want him to play a sport that people are like the audience is going to be like, yeah, I also like X.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Archer's just a man's man. He's down to earth.
Yeah, I
He's
don't
a
get how it wasn't
football
like
fan.
football or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he likes hockey. Like Scott Bakula plays hockey, so
Yay!
He does?
That's true. I actually,
I saw
will-
that picture recently.
We have to
Yeah.
share the picture of him and O'Neill.
that picture, yeah. Because, recently, listeners, and we'll share these, there was a photo of a time that someone brought the Stanley Cup to the bridge of the Enterprise, and Bakula's there holding it, looking very fucking pleased.
No, that's awesome.
That's so
When I was
cool.
trying to find more information on that, which I really
My two
couldn't.
passions.
I found out that he did
Scott
a bunch
Bakula
of...
in big shiny cups.
Yes.
He did a bunch of celebrity like fundraiser hockey games in the 80s and early 90s that had been arranged by then MacGyver
Richard Dean Anderson.
Richard Dean Anderson. So there's this great photo of the two of them in their like Quantum Leap and MacGyver Prime, just
It's
like
so cute.
arm in arm at a hockey game.
I love
That's
that.
going to be my fanfic. It was just a Stargate Enterprise crossover where they play hockey, and I'm there.
And that's and I feel like the thing with hockey too, if they wanted to have an interest that's like a sport but kind of niche, I feel like hockey kind of fits that bill. Like we're from the Northeast, so for us hockey's kind of normal.
You
But I
can
feel like-
find better footage too.
Yeah, but like I feel like in the rest of the country, hockey's a thing they're aware of, but it's not as big a deal. So it's not like, all right, we're not going to give him like something as common as baseball, like with Ben Sisko. We don't want to give him like football for some reason because that's trip sport. It makes sense. But like hockey, I feel like would work. And again, especially knowing now that he likes hockey, like why give him this dumb, weird, obscure sport?
It makes him quirky, and I feel like Archer shouldn't be quirky like this.
Well,
I mean,
on
this
the
is
other hand, he's the first human to like take a warp drive spaceship into space, and I feel like you don't really get to be that guy without being a little fucking quirky.
well, as we
Or like
established.
owning Virgin Records or whatever.
As we established, previously, last week, 2 weeks ago, or whatever, like his father was some kind of big time warp scientist. And his mother, when he was like, I'm having trouble sleeping, mother, instead of doing something normal, read him 19th century poetry about exploration. Like,
Well, it says more about her than him.
yeah, but he was raised by these people. He was never
Yeah.
going to be normal.
He was born to quirky stock. You can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to come out normal when.
He should be into jousting or something.
Oh, he is probably, but mostly with his pee-pee.
Oh, God.
Like, what? Again, I assume it had to be that someone involved in the making of the show was a fan. And it
I
was
don't
kind
even
of
know. I bet you they just picked something that sounded eccentric. Like we can't pick the normal sports. What's a kind of mainstream but not quite mainstream sport that people will recognize if they saw it? So not like handball, because who the fuck knows what that is.
Squash! He could have been into squash.
What's a sport that more people will be into when they're living in a post-scarcity society?
Isn't squash like racquetball? And that's Julian's thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They've already done squash. Good
See,
point.
they've already done one, so.
Well, they're not the same though. I think.
And
it's
Tom and
different.
Harry played hockey, so I guess they already had that tied up. Parisi Squares doesn't exist yet.
And Archer and Trip played with each other's peckers. Perfect.
See, and I'm not. The thing is, it feels like I'm saying this just because of the cartoon, but honestly, they could have just gone with lacrosse.
What cartoon?
Archer.
Oh, okay. I don't get
I
it.
would never have made that connection if
Archer-
you hadn't said it. But
Archer
yeah,
was-
lacrosse feels like a good sport for Captain Archer.
Yeah, and again, I'm not just saying because, but yes, in the cartoon Archer was on his like boarding school lacrosse team.
Yeah, actually,
But it
yeah.
feels-
Lacrosse is a pretty recognizable and yet also kind of like masculine-y sport.
And an affluent white guy sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like something that.
Rugby.
No, rugby's,
I feel like-
rugby's like too roughneck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like they probably avoided like the more contacty sports because they want to be like the
Intellectually.
Star Trek future. Yeah, kind
Water
of thing.
polo. People get fucking
Drowned
beaned all the time in that, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah,
and
but
also
the
we've already
impact-
established that Trip is a big fan of football, which is the brain damaging,
Oh, yeah,
That's true.
damagingest sport in the
It's
whole
still-
fucking world.
It still exists, but they
Well,
don't want
boxing.
you to think Archer's into it. It's Archer's into something more.
Well, by the time
Highbrow.
Trip is watching though, football is all like flag football now. They've gotten rid of all the violence. Probably
Actually, they call it football, but it's really
soccer.
Quidditch.
Oh, no.
No.
Moving on. So this episode was directed by Roxanne Dawson.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, so I thought it was very like competently directed. Like it's very followable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the failings are just in the script.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah, and
there's
I
some stupid
liked-
script things, but
I for the most part, I liked that they introduced some lower deck characters. I just don't think that they did enough with them to make them
No.
interesting or make me give a shit. And like the scene where the guy was like near death and they were I can't remember if it was Archer or Trip was trying to talk
Archer.
it was an Archer. It reminded me so much of the scene where O'Brien is trying to keep Kike spirits up.
Is that in the ship?
In the ship, yeah.
Mm,
When
I'm-
he's dying,
Oh, right.
that's such a good
Yeah, his-
episode.
his assistant Enrique who dies.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, they're
Oh.
totally
Nunez,
setting
I
it up
think.
so that this character's gonna bite it.
Nope.
Forgot all about that. Which show was that? Was that Deep Space
DS9.
Nine or was that? It was
Yeah,
okay.
DS9, yep.
Honestly,
Oh,
Mayweather.
yeah, that's
where
that
they're
sucks.
trapped on the Jem'Hadar ship that crashed.
Upside down.
And he's like
Yeah.
got an injury or something too,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't he have like a gut injury or something?
Yeah, he's a goner.
yeah.
Fucking sucks. Poor
See-
O'Brien.
Reed. Mayweather is lucky the movie got interrupted because he would have been our first casualty when Reed fucking murdered him for being because there's explosions, but that is not an action movie that they were watching.
No.
I know nothing about the movie. What are the explosions in the movie?
It is. I saw part of it years ago as a child, but basically it's probably a very tense film, but like literally these guys are hired to drive barrels of, I want to say nitro, something very volatile from one location to another across like, mid-century French roads that really aren't made for this kind of thing.
Oh, so it's
So
like
it's
a
about just-
suspense. Like, will they blow up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I think Reed would still be into that.
But also,
Yeah.
why would he kill Mayweather?
Because Mayweather made it sound like it would be an action film, and it is not an action film.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he just said there are explosions.
Yeah, there's, I
And-
think, an explosion.
And we know from every episode so far, including the previous one, Malcolm fucking loves explosions.
So
He
much.
does like an explosion.
Oh, also, I have to apologize to Crewman Cutler. Apparently, those weird dishes of popcorn are just normal for that ship.
Oh, I didn't
I guess
notice.
so.
Yeah, no, like
Well,
a two.
I didn't assume that she had brought her own from home.
Well, I had joked about
It
like.
doesn't change the fact that it looks goofy as
Oh,
fuck.
it's a terrible thing, but it's apparently just something they have on the ship. It's not something she thought was a good idea. Because we see two other people with big fucking dishes of popcorn, and during their date, Archer and Trip, their pretzels are in one of them too.
Oh, but that's a bowl. Are they just bowls?
No, they're rectangular, and they do, it turns out, kind of have like a tapered bottom, but they're not like round. They're weirdly like long. They still
Yeah,
look.
they look like a copper pan.
Well, they look like a
I thought they were eating nachos.
not a Tipex.
Pyrex.
Thank you, Pyrex. Yes. Jesus, Tipex. What the fuck, you limey?
Tipex. Yeah, seriously. I just as I was watching that scene, I was like, and then Archer and Trip touched dicks, and Dave said it's called docking, and
Son
I
of a
laughed
bitch.
my
Oh,
fucking
God.
ass off. I was like, it was great.
Gross. Yeah, I wondered why our new extras weren't just Cutler and Novakovic again.
That's a good question.
Well,
'Cause I
you know, when
think we-
Paramount gives you the budget to hire X number of extras, if you don't use that money, they take it.
I mean, I do know, very regrettably, Cutler's actress dies quite young.
She does.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we will
So-
see her once more, but yeah, she
Yeah, but
had
I was
a
gonna say, I
heart
know this is-
defect.
Yeah,
oh
this
my
is before
God, how
that.
sad.
Yeah, like we maybe would have seen more of her eventually, but yeah, unfortunately that happened. But I know
Oh,
this is
look, it's
before
sad.
then, so there's no reason it couldn't have been her this time.
Right. Especially since the characters, like especially crewman Kelly, Jesus Christ, spends most of the episode unconscious. You know, like Cutler did in the one with the cave.
I mean, at least he got a couple of lines, unlike Johnny Redshirt, who we forgot existed practically.
Or Mayweather, who is literally a fucking bridge crew member.
Hey, he got to talk to Vaughn Armstrong because, of course, it was Vaughn Armstrong
That's who
yet
that was.
again.
Oh, shit, that's
I was
great.
going to ask if that was Von Armstrong.
Yeah, that's
Holy
the
shit.
last of his roles that we've seen. So we'll see his admiral character some more, but this is the last of the different roles he plays. But he still has time to be on more Star Treks. But yeah,
do
so
it.
Mayweather talks to him, and I'm thinking, oh God, this is why they don't let Mayweather do much. Anthony Montgomery isn't great.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it's
he
like
has no. Here's the thing: fucking Terry Farrell wasn't great.
No, she wasn't.
But she had to fucking act her ass off for years, and then she got good. They don't give Mayweather a fucking chance, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, you're probably
Yeah.
right.
I mean, the way to get better at something is to do it, and they don't fucking let him do it. You know,
Nope.
Cool.
what a great show this is, huh?
Yeah.
Well, here's a great
You know
note.
what character...
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead. You
Good.
first.
I'm glad. Phlox brings up earthworms, and my thought was
Yeah.
that is the only aptly named earth animal.
But
Because
also-
it's an earthworm.
True. But also that's a fairy tale. That's an old wives' tale.
What was the fairy tale? I missed Phlox telling fairy tales?
Well, like he compared the creature to an earthworm, like even though it was separated from the rest of it, it was still fine. That's a lie. That whole if you cut an earthworm in half, it's fine thing, that's bullshit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is
My
it?
God, why would you
Yeah.
cut an earthworm in half? That's terrible.
Because
They know what they did. Flatworms, you can do that too.
I was gonna say you can cut flagellum in half, and they're fine.
You know, Earth. That is a myth. You cut an earthworm in half, it's dead.
That's sad. Fuck
Yeah.
me. PSA: don't cut fucking earthworms in half, you little monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, serially.
Even if they would have been fine, don't do it. Don't cut
Well,
things
yeah, it's
that are
also
alive
just-
in half.
Weird. Even then, yeah.
It's just reprehensible. Don't do it.
Yeah. Like, why would
You've
you
all
do
been
that?
warned. You've all
Yeah.
been warned. Leave the poor things alone.
And just because they would survive, don't cut flatworms in half.
What if they need to be cut in half? Because like
Well-
half of it's like on fire or something.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be for the greater good, Ames, we always do everything for the greater good on this show.
If the
You
flat
know,
Many-
Except everything Phlox does.
If the flatworm
Yeah, he
appears
sucks.
to you as the woman you pictured when your mother read you poems and says, please cut me in half, then it's fine.
Why?
Those are the rules.
I'm
what-
editing that episode this week, so it's on my mind.
Oh, good. What were you actually going to say, Jake?
I was just say, like, Mayweather isn't really given a chance to grow much as a character. But you know who does grow a lot as a character? Data.
Are you trying to segue?
Trying to segue.
Oh man, I have one more thing before we move
Okay.
on. Porthos still has no
Oh,
idea
yeah.
how to respond to a threat.
Oh, yeah, Porthos, terrible
Bad-
guard dog.
bad- dog acting.
That dog
Whoa,
is really
whoa.
phoning it in.
He barked at it. What was he supposed to do? He doesn't have thumbs. He couldn't open the Jeffries tube.
No,
Just
just
on it or something.
the dog acting I'm talking about.
Oh.
Like,
I didn't
bark,
notice.
bark, wag tail, yip frantically. It's
Oh.
like, that is not what you do if something has gotten into your house, dog.
Yeah, no, you kind of like get down and
Growl. Yeah, it's a fucking
yeah.
threat. Bad dog,
Well-
Porthos.
I want
Oh,
Porthos to be
he's bad.
happy, so.
He is happy. He's dumb.
Anyway, so Data, Jake wanted to bring up Data.
Let's do it.
Jake's got a fistful of datas.
Ugh.
Yeah, well.
Ancient West mind left nut.
Yeah, Data. He's a cool dude.
God damn.
You go first.
Wow,
Me?
wow. We're not even segueing. We're
All right.
just talking.
We segued,
All right.
and then we.
Well, maybe Porthos will get better as the season goes on. What do you think, Jake?
What? You brought us backwards like Hoshi.
What happened here?
I was trying to give you an opportunity to try that segue that you used before again.
Oh,
I'm not
you
editing
know who
all
else
that.
is a dog? Data.
Data!
Captain Archer has a dog
Fucking
named Porthos.
Lord.
You know who else had a pet on the ship? Was Data.
Data.
Had a dog named Spot, who's also a cat.
Was a lizard that one time.
that everyone hates except for Data.
Everyone loves Spot.
But he's
Everyone
a good
gets
cat and a pretty
well,
cat.
Yes, Spot attacks everybody. Yeah, so we've been doing these talk about a character, say 3 things you like, 3 things you don't like, and 1 thing in the middle.
Yeah, and I always list about 12.
Yeah, and then Ames cheats and lists too many.
Yep.
Well, this time we're talking about Data. Last week we talked about Riker. Before that we talked about Captain
Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard. But today we're going to be talking about Data, Lieutenant Commander Data, that is.
Jean-Luc
So
Data.
I think this one was the hardest for me to pick just 3 in both categories, because there's just so much stuff that Data does. There's things that are like endearing that he does that are highlights.
There's things that that are hot.
There's things, sure. And then there's like things that he does. So I kind of themed my tops anyway, just so I would, kind of stay in a theme.
Interesting.
So I definitely missed some other great moments, but I kind of got into a groove, so I'm gonna go with these. So number 1, not in any particular order, just the first one I'm gonna say, telling that piece of shit XO where to shove it in Redemption Part 2.
Hell yes.
Is that when he's captaining the ship?
When he was the captain, and that XO was like, well, you don't like Hillmans, do you?
I couldn't be the XO under an android. I'd like to tender my resignation. Resignation denied, bitch. Get him, Data.
So
I like that
that's
one.
one. I have
Drag
another
him.
one here. Telling Kivas Fajo
Oh,
where
man.
to shove it, and then shooting his ass.
Yeah, he certainly did. The episode doesn't want us to think so, but he did.
That fucking guy needed to get shot and needed to get told where to shove it, and Data was there to do it. Yeah, you're not going to sit and there's like really just all of his behavior in that episode, how he refused to sit in the chair, how he pretended to be a mannequin just to make Kivas
so
look like a putz.
His little fall was perfect.
Oh, it's
yeah, I
great.
forgot
One of
about
the
the fall.
best- one of the best falls. I don't know how they got the stuntman to do that and look so good doing it, but it worked. And then lastly, let's say telling the Borg Queen where to shove it in First Contact.
Up his android ass?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
sure. I mean, he did good. He played the part that he had to play as long as he had to play it. And then, but when
He
push
got
came to
laid
shove,
a little.
he's like, "I'm just going to dissolve your flesh with acid."
Oh, it's so
Okay?
hot. I love it so
Bitch.
much.
So if you haven't been able to guess, my theme is Data telling people where to shove it, and
a
he's
good theme.
great at it.
Nice.
That is a good theme.
So I'm going to go, because you've already heard 2 of mine, telling the Sutherland XO to go fuck himself. My thing was a little different. Mine was pulling one over on the Borg Queen.
Mm-hmm. That fits in the same category.
He
Yeah,
does
yeah.
get her. He gets her.
And blowing up that fucking guy's grandfather's fucking aqueduct, because fuck that guy.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy too. I thought about that. Ensigns of Command. Yeah, I considered it.
Just fuck.
But you know what? Know why I couldn't say it? Because that fucking woman that's really thirsty for him in that episode
Mhm.
was just irritating.
Fair.
Didn't care for her.
What was the
Oh,
name of that
God.
one again?
Ensigns of Command.
Yes, you're right.
Completely unrelated. I meant to mention it earlier. I'm going to mention it now because we're in TNG, sort of. There was a moment when the little Suliban girl yelled father, and I got big OG
Oh,
vibes
like
off
OG.
Yes,
her.
I got it
She
too.
sounded like OG. I thought that too.
Sorry, go on.
Father.
Maybe that is. Maybe they're just using Bobby Hill's voice every time somebody has to say father, and it's like a Wilhelm scream.
How about you, Caitlin? You've been thinking about Data?
Ames, I gotta tell you, I had 4.5 interviews today for jobs. I haven't thought about Data at all.
Whoa.
I can't remember a single thing he did that was good. All I can think about, I literally have been sitting here during this time trying to think of a good thing, and all I can think of is, oh, my boobs are firmer. So, Data, I'm sure you did something good sometime, but all I can think about is your titties.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
What
actually,
a weird specific one, too.
and when we're talking of things that he did that was bad, isn't it also sort of implied that he got the O'Briens together?
Well, not on the bad ones yet.
I am. Try to keep up.
See, this is why I have so many spares.
Oh, and when he tried to learn comedy. There, that was also bad.
God damn it, I haven't gotten to the bad list.
Oh, sorry.
Going out of
Chris.
order, Caitlin.
Chris, cut this and put it where it belongs.
No.
Ames, I'm so sorry.
Up
I don't mean
Queen's
to, I
ass.
didn't mean to I didn't mean to disrespect your blogtivity. It took all I could do just to like get here tonight.
You're here,
tired.
and that's what matters. And Chris and Jake named the same thing twice. So I've got tons of spares, so don't worry, I got us
good.
covered.
Thank you, Ames. I'm sorry.
That's
I'll
fine,
do
because
better next week.
here's a really good one. Here's one of the really good ones that I love. And that's how he tried to save Lol in The Offspring, and it's so touching.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna put LOL on the bad list too.
Well, creating Lol was a
Yeah,
mistake.
creating LOL in the first place might have been ill-advised.
Wow.
Ill-conceived, you might say.
Ah.
Yeah.
But I just love the scene of him trying to save her because it's tear-inducing.
No, it
Even
isn't.
if you hate Lol, it's like, oh,
he's such a-
Data.
Brent
And
Spiner acts his balls off, and it's wonderful to watch. So, absolutely.
And like it's interesting because the scene after that too, where the other guy is sort of explaining what happened that we didn't see, is probably one of the only
only
few,
tell
maybe-
don't shows that work.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
actually a
agreed.
good tell don't show because I think they realized, we don't have the ability to pull this off on screen effectively. So let's have him tell it. And I a lot of credit to the actor too for giving it the right level of emotion. But there may be other examples out there, but that's definitely one of the few I've ever seen where it's like, no, this actually probably worked better as a tell.
Yeah, he's like, his hands were moving faster than I could see, and every time one thing happened and the cascade moved on, he moved on to that, and it's touching. I love it.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Saving that village from themselves and all of the radioactive material in thine own self.
Oh
He
yeah.
didn't even know he was doing it.
Yeah.
But he did it.
He's so good, he doesn't even have to think about who he is to be able to do this stuff. Let's see. I also really like the stalemate that he enacts with Kohlrami
Oh,
in...
and,
oh, God, what's the name of the stupid game? The finger-milking game.
It's
Mm.
Stratagema.
Stratagema,
There we
yeah,
go.
in peak performance.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes, the whole there, you can make no mistakes and still lose. And Data's like, but what if stalemate? Mwahahaha. Get him, Data.
Oh, he adopted a cat. I like that about Data.
Yes!
There we go.
There we go, guys. Got one.
And he writes
adopted several.
poetry to his cat. Actually, the moment in, God, Generations, one of few good things about
when
Generations.
he finds the kittens.
When he finds Spot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The kittens were another thing.
That terrible evolution episode.
Yeah, I mix those up because it's the same type of situation where we just find a pile of kittens
Oh, kittens.
hidden behind a thing.
Kittens are always in piles, hidden behind things. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Do we want to? I know. Caitlin's already listed most of her bad things, but do we have any other good things you guys wanted to bring up?
Yeah, we can do bad things.
Yeah.
Bad things.
All of the episode masks.
I had 4, but let me think. Let me see if I can pick one to dump.
No, Jake, go for 4, because I already did mine, and...
All right, I'll do 4.
Yeah,
Why not?
Get it, girl.
Fuck it. We're
Yeah,
doing
fuck
4
it.
today.
We're doing 4
So
live.
I'm gonna start with whatever the fuck was going on in Pen Pals.
Whoa! I liked Pen Pals.
I like Pen Pals too, but what the prime directive means nothing to this man.
He saved a little girl.
She deserved to die.
We just watched Archer save a little girl.
Well, here's
That's
the thing. He didn't know he was going to wind up saving a little girl. At first, he was just violating the fuck out of the Prime Directive.
That's true. He
Yeah.
did love it. Actually, a very stupid thing in Pen Pals was, for no good reason, he brings Sarjenka onto the bridge. And it's like, why are you... Don't bring her in here, moron.
Well,
now we have to
look,
wipe her memory.
Being fair, Picard kept bringing people onto the ship. He was just following the
Yeah,
example.
Data
he
just
gave.
thought that like showing
This is what you do.
people their planets from space, that's just how you do it. So this one's not entirely his fault, but it did almost result in a child getting killed, and that is taking over the ship in Brothers and flying it to go visit Dad.
Interesting.
Stealing the Enterprise. in a way that nobody could undo.
No.
And almost killing a kid.
So being fair, wasn't that because his program was overridden? Like,
Yeah, but still, I mean,
He shouldn't have that access regardless then.
Yeah.
True. But that's kind of on Starfleet. Well, then again, they didn't know that. Anyway, yeah.
But free will's all an illusion anyway, Chris. So
True.
What are you going to do? I'm going to say putting Lore's emotion chip in and almost getting LaForge killed as a result of that action.
Oh, is that in Descent?
That's in Generations.
Oh, in Generations. Oh, man. See, I just had all of the emotions he was having in Generations because they were awful.
But the thing is, like, he knew that emotion chip was defective. He installed it anyway, and then he went crazy. And as a result, LaForge got kidnapped and tortured.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, the ship got destroyed. Because remember, the whole way Lursa and Betor knew the Enterprise's codes is because they hid a webcam in LaForge's visor. So it all goes back to Data and that stupid emotion chip. That's why the Enterprise crashed.
Damn, I never connected it that way before.
Considering how ugly I think the Enterprise D is, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. But still, that little girl lost her stuffed animal, and it was so sad.
So sad. I cried.
Saddest moment of the film.
Yeah, no one else of import died.
Yeah, it's true.
Nope.
And then my fourth that I mentioned is from another film. The fucking flotation device gag.
I knew someone was going to say it.
It's just so fucking stupid. It's not Data's fault. It's the fucking writers thinking, I'm going to put this fucking stupid ass gag in here. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, because
horrible.
He wouldn't have any flotation devices. He would sink like a fucking stone.
Well, that's why he has
them. He did in that movie.
Yeah. Well,
it's because he's,
metal.
Yeah. All right, mine. So I have one semi-related to Jake's. Not so much that he put the emotion chip in, but the fact that, like, he didn't warn anyone. He knows this could maybe go wrong. So maybe what he should have done was, be like, hey, Captain, I need like 2 weeks off. I'm going to put in my emotion chip. We know this could cause some shenanigans. Just proper channels. Instead, he just goes to LaForge like, we're doing this. And Geordi's like, okay.
Seriously, when I started antidepressants, I told everyone I knew, my family, and my boss at work, because I was like, if I start acting like a psycho, I need to know about it, please.
Yeah, like just, proper channels.
Oh, shit. I thought of a good thing.
Well?
Too late. No, tell us the good thing.
How much he, mourns Tasha Yar.
Yes!
I still don't know if he quite understood what their relationship was, but it meant something to him, and that's beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, as much as I don't remember us giving a shit that Tasha died, but watching...
He really gave a shit.
Watching the funeral was very nice, and then Data's response is, it's so nice.
And it came up a couple times over the years, too. It was...
When he had that little hologram of her and stuff. I don't know. It was really sweet. Even if it was just, an infatuation or a schoolboy's first crush, whatever it was special, and it was sweet, and, yeah.
You know what wasn't sweet? That fucking relationship program he wrote that time.
Oh, for Jenna DeSora?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And my other bad thing, his attempts at comedy.
You mean his successes at comedy?
Choose whichever one you want. Joe Piscopo, shoving Bev, the float gag, the boob joke. I feel like there's another one that I was thinking of and I forgot.
I don't think the boob thing was a joke. I think that was just his attempt to fit in.
Fair point. Either way, his attempts at comedy, even after he gets an emotion chip, he's bad at it. Just no Data. No.
Actually, if the boob thing had been a joke, it would have been better, I think.
Maybe.
Somewhat.
That's the thing. There were too many jokes in that movie, and one of them landed.
Which one, by your estimation?
The one that landed, because I looked this up when I was looking up something Riker did for last week's Blogtivity. When Riker shaves his face and he says, smoother than an android's bottom, and Data touches it and just gives him a look like, no, it fucking isn't, sir. Good joke.
Not quite.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's probably good because they didn't say anything. The joke was just the look.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's sad because I feel like I bet Brent Spiner's very funny with the right
he's
script.
hilarious.
So it's
He's just hilarious
like,
off the cuff.
Yeah, I was
True.
gonna say he's hilarious without a script. Remember his interview stuff that
Yeah,
we watched? He was
yeah.
hilarious.
so it's just a shame they didn't actually write better comedy for him.
Truth. All right, now, Caitlin, I know I feel so bad, but I didn't write down any of your bad ones before when you went through your bad ones. So I think you had
doing comedy.
doing the comedy. Yep, got that one now. Oh, was it introducing Miles and Keiko?
Yeah, getting Miles and Keiko together.
Oh, building lull, you said.
Well, yeah, that was a joke offhand, though. I mean, that it was bad also, but comedy, all of Masks. What was the other one I said? Oh, the boob joke.
Oh, the boob joke. Yes.
Firm boobs.
Boob joke.
Boobs.
All right, I have a couple other bad things he does.
Lay them on us, Ames.
All right, the number one on my list of bad Data moments.
Bad Data.
Bad Data. His awful sacrifice in Nemesis, because it was bad. It was just a not good character death, poorly written, could have been done without, left me feeling
for real.
nothing for the character.
And also, like, this and Sarek, like, two of the most useless deaths. Wasted, you know?
I mean, Jesus, at least he got to die on screen, unlike Sarek, where it was basically like a fucking news ticker.
Oof.
Like, FYI, Spock, your dad's dead. Yeah, but it's just, God, I just hate the death in Nemesis because it's just so stupid.
And again, in such a bad movie. Like, if he had died in First Contact, you'd be like, damn.
Yeah, if he had gone down in a blaze of glory somehow, something fitting for the character instead of fixing Picard's fucking mistake. Jesus Christ.
I feel like I could also just edit that line you just said, Ames, just be, take out the bit about Data, just Nemesis is just fucking awful.
You won't be wrong. God, that's a terrible movie.
Seriously.
Here's my good one is all the goddamn times he uses contractions.
I'm an android. I do not use contractions. Shut the fuck up, Data!
I don't use contractions. Fuck you. God
He
damn
just
it.
starts
My friend can't use contractions. I can't use them right now. Like,
he just starts making up his own contractions just to double fuck with everyone.
I was kind of trying to. I was gonna try to do that, but I was like, that's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah, I same thought. I was just like, if I make up my own contraction, no one's gonna understand what I'm doing.
All right, and the last thing that I'm gonna say was one that I thought Jake was saying, which is his weird Borg killing rampage he goes on in Descent, where Geordi gets kidnapped by Lore and tortured for a while.
Man,
just
Jordan
loves-
gets kidnapped a lot.
So much.
Yeah.
Like
he
what?
does.
Like an absurd amount of time.
Well, sorry to say, but he kind of deserves it. He's kind of a turd.
Geordi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Jordy.
Well, we're gonna discuss
Just- just
Geordi
well,
next week.
just- he
He's
creeped
really
on- on-
gross to lots of women.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah,
True.
we're gonna
that we've
name them all
seen.
next week.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so stick
I think-
around, or sit quietly for a full week, and then come back and stick around when we discuss Geordi next week.
Mm.
Won't be
Fuck,
nearly
was it?
as fun as Data. What
I
else are
think
we doing
that's-
next week?
So next week, we're getting drastically close to
Thank
the
God.
end of the first season of Enterprise.
Needed to go
and-
faster.
And, well, guess what? We're doing 3 next week
Whoa.
to make some stuff work out.
Oh yeah, we have a two-parter in the
Fucking threefer.
in the midst.
Yeah, so next week, join us for Fallen Hero, Desert Crossing, and 2 Days and 2 Nights.
And Time Zero 2.
As always, follow us on Facebook and SoundCloud and your favorite podcasting application, and most importantly, the Tumblr, where we will have up our various projects that Ames has thrown together for us.
More screenshots of Data.
Yes, very
This is going to be
many.
a good week.
So, yes, thank you for joining us. This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always me, Jake.
And I'm not using contractions.
Chris, if you don't take this out, I'm quitting the show.